very good. Well, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to everybody and welcome to this event that's going to introduce at some point the next sheriff of Hamilton County. All right. Let me start by saying that I got 27 years of law enforcement experience. I was a Cincinnati police officer. I retired in the year 1999. And there was a culture that we were seeing back in the 1990s. That culture was an us against them mentality within our law enforcement community. The community felt that the police were over-policing. The police felt that the community didn't care. And we saw a significant number of deaths at the hands of police and vice versa. We saw police officers being shot. So we knew we had to change that culture. And that was critical. And so we've spent a significant amount of time, not just in Cincinnati, but around the county, attempting to change that culture to make sure that we are working together with the police, and it's no longer a us against them mentality. In doing so, this is why I'm here to support Charmaine McGuffey. Charmaine was around during those times, and she knows quite well how difficult it was as related to law enforcement. The other issue is her opponent. I was on the force when he was on the force. I remember quite well when Bruce Hoffmeyer shot and killed an unarmed black man. His name was Walter Brown. Bruce Hoffmeyer is not fit to be the next sheriff of Hamilton County. It just doesn't make sense. All that we've been trying to turn around, this will take us back in time and bring that culture back. When Bruce Hoffmeyer shot and killed that individual, many officers, we all knew that all he had to do was wait. At that time, the only individuals on the force that had tasers were supervisors. The supervisors came on and said, "I'm on my way, I'll be there in a couple minutes." Within that short period of time, rather than wait for the supervisor to get there, Bruce Hoffmeyer confronted the individual who was just inside of his own place tearing it up. Instead of waiting for the police with the supervisor to arrive with the taser, instead of waiting for that, he confronted the individual and excessive force, lethal force, was used. It was concluded by the city manager at the time, as well as the Office of Municipal Investigation. It was concluded that Bruce Hoffmeyer used excessive force. This is why we don't want to be turning back the hands of time. The knee was on the neck for so many back then. And I would love to be able to say that if we had a cell phone that videoed what was going on, or if he had a body camera on, I'm sure the story would have been a lot different at the time. Because the worst part is Bruce Hoffmeyer has not learned his lesson for this egregious act. He hasn't learned. Just last month, he told a reporter if he had to do it all over again, would he do anything different? And he said no. And when I heard that, I cringed, man. I said all you had to do was back out of there and wait. But he said no, he would do the same thing, and that's the culture that we don't want to bring back to this county. There must be consequences for these actions. Now, Bruce Hoffmeyer, when he was on the force, After the killing, he moved up the ladder of success. He got promoted and he moved up. But now, Bruce is asking for another promotion. He wants to be promoted to be the sheriff of Hamilton County. Absolutely not. Trust me, as a former 27-year member of the law enforcement community, trust me as the chair of law and public safety for the city of Cincinnati for 8 years, trust me as a senator representing the district, the 9th district of the state of Ohio. Trust me, I understand police reform. I understand the culture needs to change. And we are doing a great job in Cincinnati, as well as the county. A number of chiefs of police have adopted good police community relations practices. And as a result of that, we are seeing a significant change. By putting Bruce Hoffmeyer as the sheriff of Hamilton County, it will be taking us back 20 to almost 30 years, where we were seeing law enforcement officers and citizens at each other's throats. And we don't want that. So with that, I want to thank you all, and I say this, we need a dedicated public servant, a dedicated public servant, like Charmaine McGuffey, who will keep all of us safe. I trust my judgment. I know what I'm talking about. I urge all of you to put your support behind Charmaine McGuffey. She will change the culture here, and she will change the culture around the county to keep that culture, keep it intact, which is good police community relations. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce my good friend, Derek Bow, to come and say a few words. Derek, thank you, Tony.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Derek Bauman, recently retired police officer of 26 years. The former police union president, Medal of Valor recipient, and perhaps the only white cop ever elected to a leadership position in the storied history of the NAACP. We heard from Senator Thomas a lot about what we don't need to do anymore. So let me take a moment to talk a little bit about what we should be doing. Anyone who's ever taken a criminal justice course is familiar with the principles of Sir Robert Peel, the father of modern policing, who in early 19th century London laid out the foundation for success in our profession. There are 9 principles, but there's a common theme, and so I will share just a few. First, recognize always that the power of the police to fulfill their duties is dependent upon public approval of their very existence, actions, and behaviors, and on their ability to secure and maintain the public trust. The extent to which the cooperation of the public can be secured diminishes the necessity for the use of physical force for achieving police objectives. And finally, to maintain at all times a relationship with the public that gives reality to the historic tradition that the police are the public and the public are the police. In short, our goal should be to be a part of the community and not apart from the community, as Senator Thomas laid out. For many decades, we got away from Peel's principles. We became, in certain senses, an occupying force, and us versus them, as the senator said. But we know from the early 1800s that the way forward is to be a part with and a part of the community. That's how we can make our community safer. That's how we keep police officers safer. The choice here is a stark one. On one hand, we have the good old boy network, and the not so good, arrest them, lock them up, throw away the key and call it a day mindset. On the other hand, we have Charmaine McGuffey. From her youth, guiding young people as a youth swimming coach in Price Hill, to working with countless community organizations while Major and Jail Commander, focusing on helping those with addiction issues, mental illness, and other populations of special needs in order to keep them from coming back through these doors. In doing so, she took our jail from the worst in the state of Ohio to first in the state of Ohio, and earning the respect of the community along the way. Charmaine, with her dedication to connecting with the people and our diverse communities here in Hamilton County to elicit and earn our trust. She embodies the mantra that Peel laid out for us nearly 200 years ago. The successful foundation of modern policing, connecting with the community. This, among many other reasons, is why I support Charmaine McGuffey to be the next sheriff of Hamilton County. And with that, I introduce Charmaine.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senator Thomas, and thank you, Derek. I so appreciate you all being here, everybody that came. I want to say I am gratified every day by the outpouring of the support of law enforcement, including the endorsements that I've received, the endorsement of the 1889 Friends of the Sentinels, and so many deputies that work right here in this building. This election is not just about policing, it's about justice. And justice is on the ballot. As sheriff, my primary goal will always be to ensure the safety of our families and our communities, and to ensure that laws are enforced fairly and safely and equally across the board. I'll invest in public safety and community policing. I'll insist on accountability and transparency. I'll invest in enhanced training, of illicit bias training and de-escalation training. I will build bridges with this community. And we need bold and courageous leaders in law enforcement, leaders who understand that together, law enforcement and law and order and justice reform will create a safer community for all of us. The courage to do what's right, and no matter what, do it even if it's difficult. That is exactly what history is calling us to do. And that's the kind of sheriff I'll be when I am elected to the sheriff of Hamilton County. I am ready to lead, and I respectfully ask for your vote. Thank you very much, citizens of Hamilton County.